don't do a lot of dedicated collection Colourpop reviews on my channel. I mostly just do a collective what's new at Colourpop video where I combine a lot of the collections in one. But this collection in particular really caught my eye. I was actually waiting for it to come in the mail, very excited about it, hoping it would come in the mail. This was sent to me in PR, but this is the Colourpop Aurora Struck collection, and it looked gorgeous. I haven't seen Colourpop launch items that look like this in a while, so now that I have it, I wanted to do a full review on this collection because I thought it looked gorgeous. So taking a look at the website right now, as of now, everything is still in stock. This launched just a few days ago. You can buy the full collection for $99. I love the price of the Colourpop collections. You just get a whole lot for not a ton of money. So the collection includes a palette, some light sticks, 3 light sticks actually, 3 luxe lip glosses, a shimmering body oil, and then an interesting dry oil, the Soul Shimmering Dry Oil, which I don't really care for those, but I do have the whole collection, so I'm going to show you. Starting off with what I am not going to be keeping for myself, but thought I'd give you a peek. This is the Celestial Sunset Soul Shimmering Dry Oil Mini. I have a few of these in my collection. It's not that they're not bad. I just don't use them enough to keep every single one that comes in the mail for me, but I will throw these on my body if I go to the beach or the pool sometimes. So here is what this one looks like. It's white and it's got some purple shimmers running through it, and it's a decent body oil. You just put it over your chest and your limbs and then you glitter in the sun. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one away, but this is $10 if you are interested in it. The other item that I'm not keeping for myself is this panoramic face and eye gloss. I just don't really use products like these. I'm not even gonna open it because I want to leave it fresh for whoever gets it next, but it's supposed to make your eyes and face look really wet. It's $10 if you're interested in that, but again, it's not a product I'm going to use, so I'm going to pass on that for myself. Let's get into what I am interested in keeping. I wanted to see the colors in person. There are 3 light sticks. You can get these individually for $10 each, or you can buy the set for $27. Look at the packaging of this. It's so galactic and pretty. Okay, let's take a look at the colors. So the packaging of them is a really pretty light purple color. So this shade right here is Sky Watcher. It has kind of a blue pearly shift to it. I don't think I'm going to keep this one, so I'm not going to swatch it because I'm not going to use like a holographic blue highlighter very often, so I'm going to pass on that for me. This one, Light Chaser, has kind of more of a blue shift to it. Purpley blue, I would say. Oh, maybe I should keep one of them. We'll see so that I can swatch them for you. Ooh, okay, this was the one that I wanted to keep. This is Winter Nights, and this one is purple, so let me swatch it for you. How pretty is that? Okay, let me see how this one applies, and then I'll decide if I want to keep the other two. But, you know, I get so much Colourpop stuff sent to me. I just don't need to keep everything. I'm just going to put this a little bit lower because it's a little deeper. Let's see. I don't really like this formula. I've tried it before and I didn't love it, which is why I was hesitant to keep these. Yeah, kind of disrupted my foundation a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna not keep the other ones, but there is like a pearly blue one, and they're holographic if you do like this formula. But I'm personally not the biggest fan. I'm really picky when it comes to liquid and cream highlights. I don't like probably 90% of the ones that I try, so if you tend to like these products, you might have a better feeling about these, but I swear, they're just not as good as powder highlights, but I do have kind of a really cool pearly sheen. I think it's gonna look really awesome for today's look, so I'm not happy about keeping this one, but I definitely won't be using the other two. I will get into the luxe oils after we do the eyes, but let's focus on what we all know I'm the most excited about in this collection, the Aurora Struck eyeshadow palette. This is $35. I always think these mega palettes are worth the full price, but if you hold off, a lot of times you are able to get this on sale, so keep that in mind. But this one, I mean, it looks sick. Here is the packaging. I think it looks so pretty. They haven't done a mega palette with such pretty packaging in my opinion. And then here is the back of the palette. Are you guys ready to see this color story? Oh my goodness, I was dying. I don't think I've ever seen a color story like this in the Mega Palettes from Colourpop, and they've done pretty much every color story. So for me, it has purples, blues, and greens, which are colors that I love the most. However, are these colors that I'm going to wear the most? Probably not. I don't wear these colors very often in everyday life, so I don't see this as becoming a most used. But this feeds my creative soul because I love playing with these colors. So I think this is unique for me. And taking a look at it, it does have shades that I feel like I could use for every day. I don't know. I just had a feeling about this palette. I love this color story. I'm gonna swatch it. There's a lot to swatch. So I'm not going to do live swatches, but we'll go row by row. So here's a closer look at the palette. If you would like to take a look, you can see it starts off with the lighter colors here and goes down to the deep, and then it kind of plays by color story going this way. So we have mauves, purples, kind of like stormy gray blues, greens, light blues, grays. I'm gonna swatch by depth level here because that makes it easier to keep my arm clean. I squeezed the top 3 rows on this arm, so you'll see here's the lightest row going down to the middle row. Everything felt pretty good for Colourpop. You know, we're not talking the best of the best quality, but it felt on the good side of Colourpop. There were a couple of shades that looked like pressed glitters, like this one right here and this one right here. They were an interesting formula, but not quite pressed glitters, just very, very textured, looks very pretty. But I will say everything is swatching on the sheer side, particularly some of the mattes, and a couple of the shimmers feel a little bit messy. We'll see with eye application, but I love the look of these colors though, right? Aren't they so pretty? This is going to be pretty for like those pastel kind of looks. And here are the bottom 2 rows. I complained about how the mattes on the top rows seemed to lack pigment. Not the case for these bottom rows, honestly. Every single shade in these bottom 2 rows felt amazing and high quality. So I'm thinking the deeper shades here are very, very nice. And then we might come across maybe some issues in the top rows, if any. But yeah, this swatched really, really good. So I'm very excited to see what looks I can create with these. We have a lot of shades, and I really do want to dig into this palette, so I'm going to do 2 different eye looks, and I think I'm going to stick with like maybe this half of the palette in the first look, and then this half of the palette in the second look. We'll see where the palette takes me, right? So I actually want to start off with this shade right here. It's kind of like a dirty blue color, gray earth if you have the palette. It has some sparkles in there, but with this formula in Colourpop, they kind of just fall on your face, so be prepared for that. But I want to put this in the center of the eyelid just to see what we're working with. I'm really interested in seeing what these mattes in the top 2 rows or 3 rows do, because they did swatch pretty weak, and this is light, but it's actually quite pretty on my skin tone. I think, you know, if you're more medium or deep skin tone, you have to use this a little differently than myself. This could be pretty on the eyelid. Oh, but that looks nice, and you can kind of see the shimmers in there, but nothing unflattering. I'm gonna stick with this brush, and let's go into No Sleep, which is a matte lilac shade, and I want to apply this to the inner part of the eye. And while I am trying to get a look that looks good, I'm also trying to put as many colors on my eyelid as possible so that I can give you the full review. That's pretty. I like that. I'm gonna go back in with a little bit of blue. So far so good. We're only 2 shades in, but I'm happy. Ooh, I really want to see what this shade does. Diamond right here. But I'm gonna go in with Bucket List first, and I want to apply this to the outer corner of the eye. It's a gray shade. I want it to be like the transition shade. This is gonna be a great transition color for a lot of the looks in this palette. So I just applied a little bit of that. I'm pretty happy with how everything is applying. And by the way, for my base, I'm using the Kaleidos Tone Activator Eye Primer. And now I'm going to go into Dynamo right here, which is a darker purple with a lot of glitters in here. Lots of fallout I just got, in case you missed that. And I'm just going to press this in the outer quarter of the lid. And you can see the sparkles going through, but I don't mind it because that's kind of the aesthetic of this palette. I think it's very pretty. They put a lot of glitters in this one, and it's showing, and I'm actually quite happy about that. Because the base is matte, it still looks very nice as an outer corner color, so I just wiped the brush off of the excess product. I'm gonna slowly blend that out. Because there's a lot of fallout with this, a lot of it actually was on my brush. And so now I have too much of it because it's blending out very nice. And while I do feel the need to go back in and reapply these base colors when we get there, they're not over blending, which is nice. Because that's something that I noticed with palettes that are not of good quality. Okay, this is looking good. Let's go into Orca right here, which is a dark navy. This can be a tough color to formulate, so let's see. I'm getting a lot of fallout from these, so be warned. Don't do your concealer first. I do my face makeup, but I leave the under eye. Okay, and I'm kind of putting it along the lash line, and this is going to create an elongated effect, which is what I really like for my eye shape. These are all blending really nicely. Now, Colourpop typically does a good job with their mattes, so we're going to say with the shimmers that we put on the eyelid, that's kind of like the ultimate test for me when it comes to Colourpop. So we're going to start off with the shade right here in So Lit. And this shade is interesting because it kind of feels like a pressed glitter, so I want to see how it applies to the lid. It didn't swatch like a pressed glitter. I think a finger is going to do the best job with applying it, but it does have a powder base. Oh, this is not a pressed glitter, but wow, it looks like it. How neat. Ooh, I like this formula. If you like the look of a pressed glitter without actually using a pressed glitter, this gives you that effect. Oh, that's so cool. I'm liking this palette. Can you guys tell? Solar Vibes right here is also that same formula. I'm going to use this shade right here. It's kind of like a light purple with some blue reflex. It's got a nice duochrome to it. I'm going to pop this in the center of the lid. That's not as pretty as the first color that I used, is it? Still very pretty though. And then I do want to use one more shimmer shade. I've had my eye on Comet Seekin right here. See, there's a lot of fallout with it. It's getting all over me. But I want to see if this will adhere to the lid, because sometimes Colourpop shadows don't. Ooh, that is pretty. I'm really happy with this palette. I definitely need to reapply the base shades and then do a little bit of blue. And for the lower lash line, I'm just going to use the same exact matte shades that I used. And then the shimmers, it's not going to be anything special. So let me touch up and show you the final look. Just wait till we get the final review with the liner and lashes. But I didn't use any new shades on the lower lash line. This is like the exact look that I would expect to get out of this palette. But let's go ahead and do the other eye. And we're going to use the other side of the palette. Let's see, what do I want to do? I'm going to start off with the shade Spiraling right here. And I think this one is going to be our transition shade. This is just a really light gray, just like this, all in the crease, and it's gonna leave everything looking nice and blended. That looks nice. It did have some sparkles in there, but I don't have any on my eyelid. And then I'm going to go into the shade Journey right here because I want to see how this one looks. I'm gonna keep it lower than Spiraling, but I just wanted to see how it blended out. Ooh, that's pretty. I am so pleased with this palette. So we just got a nice little powder blue kind of peeking through. Okay, but I do want to play with the greens. So let's go into Phenomenon right here, this dark green. And I'm going to start this in the outer corner, just like that. And then blend it. I mean, it has good pigment. And it's not over blending. It's blending out really nice, actually. I'm so happy. If you think you're going to use these colors, or you're like me and you'll have fun with these colors at the very least, so far I have not had a shade in this palette that I don't like. And I haven't tried every shade, so keep that in mind. This is completely a first impressions. And I'll keep you updated in a monthly palette rankings. But I've grabbed for some nice shades. Hopefully it continues like that because we aren't done. The only thing I will say I feel like is maybe the shade looks a little darker in the pan than it does on the eyelid, but I ain't mad. Then I'm going to go into In Orbit, which is this dark green. I want to start digging into the shimmers, because that's normally the problem child of Colourpop. Putting this in the center of my lid, I mean, it's not wham bam amazing, but I'm happy with it. That's nice. It's not messy, not sheer. Ooh. Okay, let's go into Arctic Fox. How cool does this one look? It's like a minty lime green. This is going in the inner third of the eyelid. And then I'm going to bring it a little bit over to the top, like this. Reapplying a little bit more of the dark green. We do definitely want to go deeper, so I'm going to try some of Total Eclipse. Now, this is kind of a galactic shade. It has a black base with blue sparkles, but I feel like it could look cool in this area. Yeah, and the sparkles already are kind of falling out right here, so be careful. I knew what I was going into, though, when I did that. And then blend it out. I wanted to blend out the black a little bit more. I actually used a little bit of Journey, which has a lot more coverage than I thought, and it actually blended it out into this pretty powder blue blend, which looks so good. I'm not mad that that happened. I want to take some of High Latitude, which is a silver shade. Pop it right here. Gorgeous. Sticks to the lid great. Wow. Put it right under here as well. It's a good palette, you guys. I am very happy. Okay, let me do the lower lash line. And actually, when I come back, be prepared to be shocked because I'm going to have the whole shebang on. Da, 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 da. Doesn't it look so good? I love both of these looks. So I want to go into the last part of this collection before I give you my final thoughts. So Colourpop launched 3 different luxe lip oils in this collection. You can buy the whole set for $27 or they are $10 each. And as you can see, those are quite unique colors. So they do also come in this galactic box. And here's a closer up of the colors. I'm deciding which ones I want. I'm definitely not keeping this blue one, so sorry if you wanted to see it, but I want to swatch the clear one. Now, my review on the Colourpop lip oils, I think they're really nice. They are very lightweight. Are they as good as Dior? No, they're not as good. They're a little bit too thin, but I think they are a great, more affordable alternative. You know, if you don't want to spend all that money for the Dior, these are a good way to try lip oils. I think they're quite nice. So this shade is totally magnetic and it's clear with a bunch of glitters in here. I do have a lip liner on. This is the Colourpop lip liner in the shade Formosa Cafe. And I have that all over my lips. Let's see how the clear one looks. I want to see if you can see the glitters. You can a little bit, but I would suggest, you know, if you have a lip liner color that you like, put it underneath, and this will make it more hydrating. Or just put this on clear if you want something hydrating on the lips. But you don't really see the glimmers, which is a little disappointing. But I do like this formula. So if you want to try it, I don't recommend all 3 of these, but maybe like 1 or 2 colors. I do want to see how this shade Under the Stars looks. This is a really light kind of pale pink. Let's see if it has pigment. A little bit. Okay, you don't need this and the sheer color because they're going to look the exact same. This one has a slightly pinker tint over top, but barely. I prefer the colored lip luxe oils that they have at Colourpop that aren't from this collection. I don't think these are my favorite, though they do go with the collection and the packaging is really cute. But especially if you like the clear one, you don't need to get the light pink one. So these are just okay. I'm going to go ahead and pass off this one to somebody who will use it. It is no surprise the clear standout here today is the Aurora Struck palette. I mean, this isn't for everybody, but I really love it. I think it is a great value. I have not tried a dud color yet. Again, I will keep you updated, but if you're interested in this color story, or if you want to experiment a little bit more with these kind of shades, maybe you don't have these colors in your collection, I think this is a great value to pick up. It's a great way for you to experiment and play. They have some interesting textures and finishes in here, pigmented, blendable. Even the shimmers are really good. So this is a solid lunch from Colourpop. It's everything that I wanted it to be. Now, the rest of the collection, I don't really care for, if I'm being honest. I don't like the cream highlighter formula that they have. I played a little bit more around with this off camera. It broke up my foundation. Not my favorite, don't recommend that. And the Luxe lip oils are nice, but the ones from this collection aren't my favorite colors, but it's a good formula. But the palette, if you were looking for a reason to bite the bullet, this is it. I am your reason. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Thank you so much for tuning into Vlogmas. If you didn't know about that, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel because I will be posting a new video every day up until the 25th. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye guys, have a good one.